Hello, everybody, and a big warm welcome to the kickoff of this year's SSE Mentorship Program. My name is Anna Monson, and I work here at the SSE Alumni Office together with my colleague Chen. And I'm so happy to see so many of you joining us tonight. I have the honor to guide you through this hour, and I hope it'll make you all feel motivated and inspired to launch your own mentoring relationships, and that you also leave with some hands-on tools to help you develop it into a very fruitful experience. Before we have a look at our program tonight, I would like to start with a few housekeeping rules. It's very nice to see you all, so please turn on your camera if you can, because it makes wonders for connecting. Also, due to the number of participants, we have muted everyone, but we do encourage you to participate by adding your questions and thoughts in the chat during this hour. Finally, we'll be recording the video, so it's available afterwards. However, the breakout rooms will not be recorded. So it's just anything that's sort of in the main window will be recorded. But let's have a look at tonight's program. Let's see if there. Mostly this evening will be dedicated to a gathering and sharing experience. We will start this evening with our guest speaker, Rosie Kropp, who will share her story and insights as an experienced mentor and coach. You will then listen to former mentors and mentees sharing their experiences. Okay. After that, we will give you an introduction to the program setup and share some helpful tips and advice. You will also be invited to talk with other mentors and students in smaller groups. That's sort of later on in the program. So let's go ahead and start. I'm happy to introduce tonight's guest speaker, SSE alum Rosie Kropp. Rosie is senior advisor, executive coach, speaker, and mentor at the boutique consulting firm Lavendel. She is a global brand and business leader with 25 years of management experience in top-tier corporates, consulting firms, and startups. She is a recognized expert in branding, strategy, and leadership, and has been mentoring and coaching entrepreneurs and startups. So without any further ado, please help me in welcoming Rosie.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Can you all hear me? Thumbs up. Yes, thank you. Lovely to be here today. It's a big honor for me. I'm an alumni, as you just heard, and it was more than 25 years ago since I graduated from Handelshögskolan, which was a fantastic period in my life. So I'm very happy to be here. And I'm going to share a little bit of my experience from mentorship. And I could easily talk about this topic for hours, but I'm not going to do that. I will try to condense just some key thoughts on why I think it's important, why I also would encourage all of you to get a mentor, and my own experience of mentorship. So first of all, mentorship for me is about personal growth. It's about becoming the best version of yourself and getting help by someone who is committed to your own personal growth. And a great mentor, I think, is someone who shares his or her knowledge and experience, and also is very generous with their time and commitment. When you meet a mentor, it's important that you have that click, the match, because you need to create trust. And for me, when I was starting at Handelshögskolan, I'd heard about mentorship, and I was really keen to get my own mentor. So there was actually an event in 1994 where old students came back to the school to actually offer to become mentors, but very few people then knew mentorship. So I was among maybe 10 students, and there were 30 mentors there from the top business level in Sweden. I am in the 60s that I felt, wow, he looks like a gentleman, kind eyes, he has a really nice personality. And we ended up spending the entire night talking about mentorship. And he became my first mentor. His name was Lasse. And he helped me a lot, gave his own time, his own commitment, helped me with choosing what kind of career I would do. And when we established our relationship, we also were quite adamant with having specific topics when we met, especially in the beginning. I think that's a good topic or a theme we're going to talk about now. Is it leadership? Is it building good teams at work, or is it something else? And that meant that we were constantly also preparing for those meetings, respecting each other's time, which I think is important from both sides. Mentorship is also about sharing, being generous from both sides, because reverse mentoring is equally important. It doesn't have to be a senior being mentored to a more junior person. It could actually be the opposite as well. And I do believe that the value that I have experienced, not only from Lasse, but also from other managers during my career who have stayed as mentors, me myself has been a mentor to many younger team members. I think that value is something that you bring with you all through life. It's amazing. Lasse is now 91. We are still in touch. He's still my life mentor. I talked to him tonight. Actually, I told him I was going to come to Handelshögskolan and speak about him and all the value that he has brought to my life. And I have been living abroad for almost 15 years of my career in London and Dubai. And one year, Lasse took his wife and came to visit me in Dubai, which I think was an amazing proof of not only our mentorship relationship, but the friendship we have built up upon those years. So with that being said, I would encourage everyone who listens to think about what could it mean? How could I give from a mentorship relation, and how can I give to someone else later on? And try to find someone that you trust, that you feel you can have a good relationship with. And don't be shy to ask people that you admire or respect. I would say 9 times out of 10, they will say yes. But be careful with their time. So when you meet with them, that it's valuable from both sides.
Oh, he's going to see that. Oh, nice.
I think there's someone who's not on mute there. I know my time is really short, but I would be happy to take some questions as well. So I think we actually have time for a couple of questions before I maybe do my final wording.
Yeah,
What do you say, ladies?
Yeah, if you have any questions for Rosie, please write them in the chat and we'll read them out loud here for Rosie.
And while you think about you have some questions, I could also add that I think the mentorship is growing in importance all around the world. I'm working as a leadership coach and I do professional mentorship programs, and I can see that many people are looking for mentorship in order not only to enhance their career, but to have someone to bounce ideas with, bounce thoughts, and also just share experiences with. So it's a really excellent way of focusing on your personal growth.
Here's a question from Daniel. How frequently do you exchange, like call or meet with your mentees on average?
I would recommend to meet once a month or once every 6 weeks for about, let's say, an hour over lunch or over breakfast. I think that's a really good start. And again, I would also suggest that you decide a topic or a theme before that. And I think that's the responsibility of the mentee. So that person would say, listen, I would love to talk about this specific topic where I have a problem, etc. I think that's the easiest way to start. What are some topics or areas that you suggest we focus on? Okay, great question. Depending on where you are in your life and career, but I think it can be anything of value. It can be something related to your professional career. Like I mentioned, how do I become a good leader? How do I build a great team? How do I manage conflicts? How do I work in an international level, for example? How do I create the life-work balance? I think that could be good topics to discuss. And then I think it's really up to you to define what is important for you in this relationship. What do you usually go through during the first meeting to initiate a good start? Okay, another great question. Prepare to get to know a person that could be extremely valuable in your life. That means respecting the other person, be curious, be generous with who you are, and try to create a connection. It's all about creating that trust. I think that's the important thing on the first meeting. Physical meetings you prefer compared to digital? Of course, I believe that physical meetings have a completely different energy than a digital meeting, but because of the times we are within now, maybe it's not possible to meet in real life. So then, of course, you can have digital meetings, but I would really recommend to meet someone at least the first time over lunch, over breakfast, if you can.
I think those were the questions we had from the audience.
And I think my time is up, right?
If you have a couple of finishing words, you're free and welcome to share them, Rosie.
I think my finishing words would be, as it looks like in today's world, to be focused on growth. I think that's extremely important. And one of the best ways to grow is to get yourself a mentor, as well as become mentor for someone else. That is an amazing way of growing yourself. I think that's going to be my final word. And best of luck, everyone.
Thank you so much, Rosie. I hope you all sort of took to heart what Rosie said and shared here. I thought she really touched upon some key issues when in establishing a really sort of mutually beneficial mentor relationship. But let's move on in the program. We're glad to have with us two mentors who've been with us in this program before and their former mentees joining our panel today. So I'm going to call your names and then ask you to give a short introduction of yourselves to everybody listening, and then we'll start the discussion. So we have Dilan here today. She's been a mentor since 2015. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Dilan Olser. I have indeed been a mentor since, I think it's even further back than 2015. I think I joined the program from the very start, and if I'm not mistaken, it was 2013. And when I joined, I had a colleague, I work at the Swedish Central Bank, by the way, at the Riksbank, and I had a colleague who was part of sort of starting this program and who recommended me to or asked if I didn't want to become a mentor. And to be honest, I didn't really know what that implied. But I started because I believed that, just having this very open and frank discussion with the students about sort of their choices in life and what path to take and not take, and just the fact that talking to someone who doesn't have a stake in their studies is quite refreshing. I know I would have loved to have that back in the days when I was a student at the SSE, but I didn't have that. So I thought that would be one way for me to give back to the school that I really appreciated, and that was how I joined. I don't know, that was a short intro, but that's yeah.
Thank you so much, Dilan. And we also have her mentee from last year, David, connecting from Washington, D.C. How about you also give a short introduction, David?
Yes, hello everyone. So my name is David. I'm originally from Switzerland. I'm currently in the second year of the master program in economics. And as Anna said, I'm currently in Washington, D.C. And Dilan and I, we started our mentoring relationship, exactly a year ago, and it's been a very, very rewarding time since then. And I'm not going to tell you everything now because then I don't have anything to say after.
Thanks so much. We also have Carl with us tonight, who's also been with us for a couple of years by now. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you very much. My name is Carl Kinborg. I'm currently the head of HR for City in the Nordic region. So I'm based in Stockholm, but cover the 4 Nordic countries. I'm born and raised in Sweden, but I've lived abroad about 10, 11 years in the US previously. And similar to what some of the other panelists have mentioned, really the reason why I kind of joined the program here with SSE was really about, my own kind of journey and having had the, fortune to have some really good mentors along my career and kind of knowing the importance of having someone to kind of consult and speak with and what a great impact they really can have. So that's really the reason why I decided to join the program.
Thanks. We also have your former mentee, Ossian, with us, who's joining us from London.
Yes, hello everyone. It's great to meet you. It's great to see you. Really quickly then about myself. I am Swedish, but I moved around a bit as a kid, and I recently graduated my master's here from SSE and did the international business master. And before that, I also did the bachelor's at SSE. And I now, just a couple of weeks ago, moved to London. I work for Education First for the customized solutions unit. And in terms of the mentorship, yeah, I had the pleasure of having Carl, and he was a great mentor. And I can wholeheartedly say that anybody who has him will have a great mentor.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody, like all 4 of you for joining us today. So I have a few questions for you. We sort of already touched upon what sort of motivated you to be part of the program. Specifically, I think Dilan and Carl already sort of stated their reasons why, but Ossian and David, like what were yours sort of, what's the reasoning behind, like what made you want to apply in the first place?
Yeah, maybe I can go first here. So for me, it was kind of the motivation was just to get some guidance and help at this very critical moment in our career. I think especially like when you start your master, it's kind of a point in time where you can like reorient yourself and kind of look for a new direction where you want to go, and you can like make very important decisions. And it was just, I wanted to have someone to help me in this process, and Dilan did really an amazing job in this. And then another reason was that I had also a mentor during my undergrad, and it was like a very, very, very rewarding experience. And I just wanted to take the chance to do this again at SSE, especially given that I'm from Switzerland. It was also very nice to get to meet people in Sweden and maybe like build up a network in Sweden, have someone who's working in Sweden and can get me some insights how it works in Sweden. So that's what motivated me, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, how about you, Ossian?
Yeah, in my case, I think during my bachelor's, if you go back a little bit, during my bachelor's, I wasn't the prototypical bachelor student maybe that had done a bunch of internships. I kind of chose to do things that I enjoyed, which was to coach basketball, which is something that I've done for a lot of years. And I don't regret that at all. But one of the trade-offs was that when, in my master's, then I was a bit uncertain when it came to what I wanted to do, and maybe even what I thought I would be good at doing. So the main reason why I actually wanted to be a part of this mentorship was to just kind of broaden my perspective a little bit, hear a little bit more of what is out there, what you can do. Also hear from an external part, someone also has a lot of experience in the industry, what they think I would be good at, or maybe to just hear some tips and advice from them. And I feel like the mentorship really gave me that.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe Dilan and Carl want to add anything regarding the motivation behind becoming a mentor?
Yeah, sure. Carl here. I mean, happy to join. And first of all, I actually did not tell Ossian to say that I'm a good mentor. So I just want to get that off the record. But actually, on a similar note, right? I think part of the motivation piece, I think is part also to seeing, the future leaders of the next generation kind of come up and really kind of like what the first speaker was discussing in the beginning, it's not just a one-way street, right? Even though the mentee gets a lot out of the program, I actually do think that the mentors get a lot out of the program as well. And being able to see somebody kind of young and ambitious, and see them grow and develop, and maybe help them a little bit along the way. And I think that the kind of combination of having a coaching mentality in terms of asking questions and not necessarily just telling the mentee what to do, but sharing some perspectives or from your experience, but really kind of guide them and asking more or less open questions for them to really reflect. Sometimes that could be really powerful for them to kind of take a couple of steps forward on their road to success, which they're already on. And I think someone like Ossian, similar to me, right? I got a lot out of our mentor-mentee relationship, and he would have been fantastic without me. So I do think that it was just a really pleasant experience. But it takes two to tango, right?
Right. Dylan, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I would say I really agree with Carl with everything he said. I think it's also a really great way to sort of continue being connected to the SSE and just knowing, how the student life is at the moment, what they do, how things are working out. And I don't know, it's a way to sort of continue being at the SSE, but still not, but sort of living it through them. And that is also very nice.
Yeah, I would like to add and introduce myself. First, apologize for being a little bit late. I agree with Dylan and Carl. I think is that what motivated me to join this program is not only to share my academic and international work experience, but also to learn and be inspired by the new generation of leaders. My name is Mariana Tello. You might find me in social media as Mariana Willy as well, which is my married surname. I'm originally from Latin America. I lived in Sweden for a few years. I have lived in Germany for a short period, in Poland, in Canada as well. And now I'm based in the US, working for a very important fintech global company, which is called Pfizer. I'm connecting from the work computer. That's why you see the corporate background.
Okay, thanks, Marina. I would like to ask Ossian and David here again. What did you find was the most rewarding part of being part of the mentorship program? Would you like to go first, Ossian?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are two main takeaways that I would say. I think first of all, you can look at it from like the tangible aspects that you can can really get from it. I know a lot of people are afraid of like CVs and cover letters and that type of things, interview experience. Those are things that you can get help with, and something that I was a bit wanting to get out of it as well, which I really did get. And those are some tangible things that I think is always good to keep in mind, that I think you can get a lot of help with. But I think the most kind of thing I took away from it was that me and Carl had a very nice connection. He was a basketball player himself. He lived in the US. I had grown up in the US, so there was a quite high level of kind of trust and connection there immediately. And I feel like our conversations got to a point where like I was really getting a lot of confidence from it as well. I think he realized and understood what type of skills you can actually get from being a basketball player or being a sports player. And he managed to convey that in a way that I think made me realize, okay, this is something that I can take away also in a business setting. So it was this kind of confidence I think that I got from the mentorship that was really unique. And I think most people walk away with as well.
Great. How about you, David?
Yeah, I agree with what Ossian said. So it's definitely like there's some tangible things. So Dylan helped me a lot with applications to programs at SSE and so on. Also the program I'm on right now here in Washington. But in general, like what I thought was very, very rewarding was just like get to know Dylan, and also like the friendship we developed. It was really like just refreshing to talk to her once in a while and bounce off some ideas. So what she always did was like she asked me a lot of questions, and kind of through her asking questions, I realized what actually I wanted to do and what I thought. So she just like helped this process, and that was very, very helpful. If I'd have to pick one thing where it was especially helpful, and I think it's also just a great fit with mentor-mentee, was like last spring when I was applying for summer internships. I had a few options at the International Finance Corporation, and it was just amazing because Dilan had worked there before, so she knew about the organization. She knew like how it is to work in an international organization compared to maybe an organization in Sweden, and how it could be as like a rather junior member in these organizations. So that was extremely helpful. And I think that was also one of the most rewarding things I took from that.
Thank you. Dilan, would you like to share maybe what if you could pick sort of the most rewarding part of being a mentor in the program, what would that be?
Oh, there are many. I think what I often feel is that I want to spend even more time with the mentees that I have, but unfortunately, time doesn't always allow that. It's often that I feel I am very impressed by the sort of person I have in front of me. And what I tend to do, and I think what I did with David as well, the first time when we met up and had a chat, and it was initially maybe an hour or so, and then I had to go into another meeting, but I had to take it sort of on the phone. And then I gave you a task of just sort of writing a list of all the places you could imagine or wanting to work, and why, sort of the pros and cons of that, just to sort of, I don't know, maybe organize one's thought a little bit. And that was a first way for us to sort of continue. Where are you most likely to go, and why do you want to choose what you want to choose, what you want to do? But I think I don't know, it surprises in many different ways. It can be everything from, that was not the case in David's case, but with sort of previous mentees as well. Sometimes they might be like super shy in the beginning when you talk to them, but then suddenly you see how they grow during the year and how they become more and more confident, both living in Sweden, because many of my mentees have actually been from other countries and sort of coming to Sweden and discovering Sweden. Everything from sort of presentation skills, how can you challenge them? So often they would sort of present for me, and I would, if they have an hour with their sort of class, I would challenge them to present the same thing first, 20 minutes, then 10 minutes, and then maybe just in 2 minutes, just to sort of see, do they really have a message to convey, or are they, how can they structure their minds, and so on. So I don't know, they're different, and it's really nice to see them grow. But I have to say, in David's case, what surprised me the most was the last time when we spoke, and I had no idea that this man in front of me had developed Swedish skills to a level that I was extremely impressed by. And I had no idea that I could have sort of spoken Swedish to him during this whole time. And yeah, many different surprises. But it's very rewarding, and I really hope that the rest of you who are both mentees and mentors can sort of find a good relationship where you think it's worthwhile to meet, because this is obviously just a voluntary thing, and it's, for me, it has also been important that that it should be rewarding for them, and that it's not about them sort of replicating what I have done, or about me sort of promoting what I have done and the path I have taken, but rather sort of being very frank and honest about my path and the sort of the successes, but just as much the failures that I have had, and how I have handled them, and I don't know. Yeah, all kinds of aspects, both private and professional, I think is important in these mentorship relationships. I should stop there.
I just want to switch gears and also ask you, Carl, according to you, what would you say are the most important factors for nurturing a good mentorship experience? And that sort of also touches upon a question we got in the chat about sort of how do you measure, like how do you know if your meetings with your mentor and mentee are sort of successful or not? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, listen, it's a great question, right? And I would say, some of the key kind of points or like factors to kind of nurture a good mentorship experience, I would kind of say, one, for the mentors to kind of have a genuine interest in the mentees, which I think everyone on this panel is quite clearly exhibiting, right? But I think that's the key thing. It's a time commitment, but as long as you have a genuine interest in the person coming in as a mentee, you want to see them succeed, then I think that's a great first step, right? And then I think also from a mentee perspective, to really be curious, right? To dare to ask questions. I mean, the mentors are here to help you, and the mentors want to see you grow. So I think there are no stupid questions. Being able to just open up. And it also comes back to the point we were discussing earlier in terms of mentors, asking a lot of questions, and really for the mentee to kind of reflect and think about it and answer it honestly, and also be open. I think those are kind of some of the key elements that if you kind of start with that foundation, and then it's quite easy to build on from there. So I think those are probably some of the key tips that I would share. One, for the mentors, just ask questions, be genuinely interested in the individual in front of you. And then for the mentees to really take advantage. I mean, you will have some of these really experienced professionals taking time off to speak with you and kind of share with you and help you. So really take advantage of the opportunity and really drive the relationship. I think that the best mentee-mentor relationship is when the mentee is driving things in terms of trying to schedule time, put something in the calendar, come prepared, ask questions, and I think for me, Ossian was really on the ball in that sense, and we were able to have some really good conversations, right? And a lot of it was really based on in terms of what he wanted to talk about. But I think those are some of the key things that stand out to me, at least.
Yeah, I think those are some really great points. I completely agree with you on that. I also wanted to sort of wrap up this panel discussion with a final question I want to direct to all four of you. And that is, if you have any tips and suggestions for new mentors and students who are new to having a mentor, any sort of tips and guidance that you want to share, maybe something you wish you would have thought about when you just embarked on this journey. Maybe we'll start with the mentees first. How about you, David?
Sure. Maybe one tip that I can give is like, be as honest as possible from the beginning on. Like, really take this as an opportunity. Like, your mentor is a person of like, you can trust that person. It's a person of trust. So like, really open up and talk also about your weaknesses and the things you're not sure about, because this is where they're gonna be able to help you the most. So I think, like, don't be shy, really, like, be honest. It's going to help you.
Thank you. Ossian, what are your best tips?
Yeah, no, I don't have a tip like that, but to me, it comes down to what Carl was talking about. It really is that curiosity, like that, being interested in each other. And it's not just mentor to mentee, it goes both ways. But I got the feeling very early on that Carl was genuinely kind of interested in who I was as a person, curious what I had done in my life, and, what made me kind of. And that, I think, connecting back to what you were talking about, Rosie, I think that's what leads to that trust. If you feel that the other person really is interested, really cares, then you will trust that other person. And that's when you can get that connection. And from there on, tips, it's, listen to each other. And as Carl said, I mean, he wanted to know what I wanted to know. Like, so he asked me, quite frankly, what can I do for you? And I told him what my insecurities were and whatever I needed help with. But it all started from that curiosity. So that's kind of the first thing I can really say is get to know each other. And I think everybody here, mentor and mentee, are equally remarkable people. So there's a lot to find out from each other.
Yeah, those are also some really great points. How about you, Dilan? Any tips or suggestions?
I think both Carl and Ossian have mentioned very important things. Now, I think in general, just, take advantage of this time and sort of get to know the person in front of you and what really motivates and drives that person, and try to see that that person is going to sort of shape its own path, and if you can be helping with whatever or help along the way, I think that's just rewarding. I don't know if I have one tip actually, but I think it has been very exciting, and I have enjoyed it a lot, which is obviously why I continue doing this. And I hope the rest of you will also find it as exciting, if not more.
Thank you. So Carl, any sort of final tips and suggestions on your part?
Sorry, I was on mute there. No, I think we covered it all in terms of the tips. I think for me, a final comment would just be that I think everyone at SSE, right, are obviously very bright people, right? And I think it's absolutely okay to, even though you guys are smart and bright and you go to a very good school, you know, to be unsure of yourself, or, you know, not necessarily knowing exactly what you want. And I think having a mentor can help you to kind of find your path maybe a little bit quicker than if you wouldn't have, right? So like what everyone is saying, yes, you know, take advantage of the opportunity and make the best out of it, but really own it and kind of drive things. And I think you'll see a lot of great results.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. And I hope this sort of helped as inspiration and some guidance for all of you who are maybe, especially you who are new to the program this year. Now it's time for the practicalities. So I will hand over to you, Yichen.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I will figure out the breakout rooms here.
Great. So I would like to give you all an introduction to this SSE mentorship program. What are your roles as mentors and mentees, and some practicalities. So what is the SSE mentorship program? First of all, it's incredible that you as mentors devote your time and energy to the school and to the students in a way that support them to take that important step into professional world after the finished studies. And in short, mentorship program is a supportive relationship between an experienced mentor and a student, where you both share with each other knowledge, skills, and experiences. It has a structure and it is time-bound. Although it's a self-managed process, they do have a framework and structure to support it. And the final point we want to make here today, and perhaps the most essential part of the program, is that it is interdisciplinary and it is collaborative. Although mentee should be, you know, in the driver's seat of the mentorship program, collaboration is needed from both the mentor and the mentee. And also engaging the mentorship program will expose you to people with entirely different skills, backgrounds, and interests. It is a way also to maybe have insights into the fields that you were not looking at when you started studying. And maybe your mentor has a completely different career path than you might think of. But we often find that this will trigger very interesting discussions and creativity when you learn from different disciplines. And so the SSE mentorship program has been running for almost 10 years, and it is hugely appreciated by both mentors and mentees. So we just listed some benefits that we've heard mentors and students talking about from past years. For instance, students say that it's a great chance for them to expand comfort zones, gain insights into professional life. And also it's about long-term and how to balance your career and life. It is also a good way to expand your network, but we just want to mention here the mentorship program is not a recruitment thing, and that your mentor is not going to serve you a job, as we're managing expectations right now. So that's not what we're after in this program. And on the mentor side, we've heard that they can get new perspectives, get access to the latest research, and also pick brains from the future leaders. And we also hope that for you mentors, the program is an interesting, inspiring, and self-development opportunity. So what is a mentor? Is it someone like a Yoda who is a master of everything? Or is it a genie in the bottle who will grant you 3 wishes and your wish will be the mentor's command? Or is it a fairy godmother who will grant you that dream job? Although we hope to have someone like that, but I don't think mentor is any of this. So if we take the help of the Oxford Dictionary, a mentor is defined as an experienced and trusted advisor. It is someone who supports and shares, including information, knowledge, network, and working culture. Although I believe that as mentor, you are all very successful and experienced in your field, we would most likely to hear some other things rather than successes. That's about your challenges, your failures, and something you think that your mentee can actually learn from. And also, like our previous speakers have mentioned, it is about the student needs. Don't make assumptions of what the student wants, and trying to break through common assumptions by asking a lot of questions to the mentee and trying to dig deeper rather than just offering a big, strong point of view. And now the other half of the mentoring relationship is the student. So what is your role? You're someone who drives the relationship forward, who will actively seek support and guidance from your mentor. So we think it's super important that you set a goal for why you are in this program. Your needs and goals determine what the mentoring relationship is about and what topics are covered. Reflect on what you want to get out of the program, but also think about like smaller goals, what you want to achieve in each smaller meetings. You can think about it now, like before your first meeting. And also when you first meet, make sure to talk about your expectations, communicating this clearly and openly to your mentor so that you can actually manage your expectations and be able to follow up on them. And both your goals and expectations should be realistic. And just like we heard from the panelists, the importance of getting prepared to your meetings, having an agenda of discussion topics or ideas about what you really want to focus on is very important. This will secure that you're not just chit-chatting for an hour, but you're actually focusing on something that you really want to achieve. And another most important factor is trust, a trusted discussion with your mentor. That is also based on the idea of being authentic and open. So share your progress and also don't be afraid of share your challenges, your worries, your failures. And finally, commit. That is for both the mentor and the students. So stay committed to the mentoring process once you're on board. And show up to your meetings and be present. So don't waste each other's time. And let's look at some practicalities of the program. You've all probably read this already, like before you apply. So now the ball is in the students' court. I know a lot of you have reached out to your mentors, and some of you have already had your first meetings. That's great. If you haven't done that, please do that as soon as possible. And maybe right now after the event to decide on when and where you want to meet first. We would also like to recommend that you book all your meetings when you first meet. For instance, send a calendar invite for every 6 weeks or 7 weeks, because life can get busy and sometimes it's difficult or easy to remember that you should meet for the second time. And the mentoring process is not just about 2 people having conversation. It's a process that has a structure and needs time to follow up, to talk through issues, and also agree on next action points. So we would suggest that each meeting take 50 to 90 minutes. And just to sum up some recommendations, as we heard from other speakers today, have a clear structure and make an agenda for the meeting. Discuss expectations openly and set goals in the first meeting and review them as you progress. It's also recommended that I keep some simple meeting notes to help keep track of what you have talked about and agree on. Also, for after each meeting, feel free to spend a few minutes to sum up together what you have discussed, what are the next action points, and what are your key takeaways. Yeah, so finally, I just want to say that there is no right way to mentor. The best technique is the one that works for the individuals involved. So do not be afraid to just let the relationship flow naturally. And for example, don't feel that you're bound to talk about something outlined last time if a more interesting topic come up. Yeah. That's all for my part as a practicalities. Back to Anna.
Right. So we have been broadcasting now for a very long time, and I'm sure you've learned a lot from our experienced mentors and mentees about the management, their mentoring relationships. So now we would like to have you talk sort of amongst yourselves. And I'd like you, Chen, to take a look at this. So I did that right, because we need to move.
I think so.
It doesn't, I can't.
Yeah, just do that. I can quit.
So anyway, we will send you out in breakout rooms and you will be called back in about 7 minutes or so. And to give you a topic to discuss, we would ask you to spend some time discussing what you all think is the most important quality or skills for a thriving mentorship relationship from your perspective as a mentor or mentee. There are, like Chen said, there are no right or wrong answers here. Feel free to have an open discussion. And then when you come back, we'll ask you to share in the chat. So enjoy. All right, so welcome back, everybody. I'm not sure how many will come back. There's always a dropout rate when you start sending out people in breakout rooms, isn't it? I would like for the remainders of you to please share it in the chat, sort of the most important qualities or skills that you discussed in the breakout rooms. Mutual interest, honesty, listening, openness, trust, questions, curiosity, commitment, chemistry, openness, again, honesty, these are all great. Thank you so much for sharing. I can also just mention, so what you shared in the chat just now are also some of the key qualities of a thriving mentorship that we've identified throughout the years here as well. So active listening, vulnerability, sharing, empathy, reflection, accountability, open-mindedness, or curiosity. They're all very, very important and key to a thriving mentorship relationship. And not just getting stuck in reflection, it's also important to take action. Having a mentor is a great way of having someone who holds you accountable for things you commit to. And we can't stress enough that it is going in with curiosity and an open mind that will sort of make this mentorship relationship a success. So we also want to share with you some more support if you want to find out more about where you can get inspiration for your mentorship, for example, questions to discuss. So we have a handbook that's been distributed to you all, and we'll send it out again after this event in case it got, if you can't find it in your inbox anymore. We will also organize events during this year with interesting speakers and networking opportunities for you all. So stay tuned. We will send out information about this too. And also, especially maybe for you students on the SSE Career Hub, you'll also find support regarding, you know, job applications, careers, stuff like that, that might also be sort of top of mind when you're a master's student and you're sort of also started to think about what to do after graduation. Don't hesitate to reach out to us at mentor@hhs.se if you have any questions or feedback. We're always here for you. And last but not least, like, do you have any sort of questions right off the bat here? Then please write them in the chat. If you can't think of anything right now, like we said, don't be strangers. Send us an email or contact us on LinkedIn, whatever suits you the best, and we'll help you out. And again, we'll be in touch hereafter with some more information about upcoming events, but also please keep an eye out for the event evaluation survey that we'll send out shortly together with the recording of this kickoff. We always appreciate your feedback. With that, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much, all of you, for participating tonight, and have a continued lovely evening, and hope to see you all soon again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Anna.